The Athraniasi drifted through the silence between stars, its hull glinting like a blade of polished obsidian. Inside, the air was cool, filtered to sterile perfection. No scent, no sound beyond the rhythmic pulse of the ship's core. To the Valari, that quiet was sacred, the sound of order. Commander Threxel stood at the observation deck, hands clasped behind his back, gaze fixed on the distant cluster of lights shimmering against the black. His elongated eyes adjusted automatically, pupils narrowing to razor slits. "Report," he said, his voice carrying the calm certainty of command. Technician Voenar's tendrils trembled slightly as he manipulated the holographic display. Unidentified formation at bearing 397. 27 signatures, irregular in shape and vector. Power emissions fluctuate without discernible pattern. Threxel frowned. Irregular and unpredictable. Typical of primitives. Archivist Claren, hunched over a secondary console, made a soft, amused sound. Primitive commander? These are the humans you dismissed as an evolutionary accident. And yet, here they are, crossing the border into Valari space. Threxel didn't look at her. Accidents often wander where they don't belong. Clarinet's bioluminescent eyes glimmered faintly. Perhaps, but few survived long enough to make the galaxy notice. The three stood in silence as the fleet drew closer, their sensors gathering data. On screen, the human ships appeared as patchwork constructs, bulky hulls of mismatched alloys, engines flaring in erratic bursts. To Valari aesthetics, they were offensive. No symmetry, no elegance. A tangle of exposed conduits and asymmetrical plating. Some bearing crude markings. Voenar winced as he magnified the image. They appear assembled from debris. Recycling, Claren corrected softly. They call it repurposing. A testament to their survival instinct. Threxel's jaw tightened. Instinct is no substitute for discipline. He gestured for a scan. Within moments, streams of data flooded the display. Power readings, radiation spectra, fragments of communication. But the analysis returned nonsense. Half the transmissions were corrupted. Others carried rhythmic bursts that defied encryption. What language is this? Threxel asked. Voenar hesitated. It doesn't appear to be a language, sir. Some contain tonal patterns, perhaps code. Others, he paused, confused. Others sound like music. A strange, distorted sound filled the bridge, a rhythmic thrum accompanied by a human voice shouting jubilantly in several conflicting keys. Claren covered a smile. I believe it's called rock. Threxel's expression remained stony, filter the noise and isolate command signals. Voenar obeyed, but each attempt to interpret the data produced new anomalies. The human network refused to align with Valari protocols. Its packets weren't linear, its encryption recursive and inconsistent. It was chaos-made code. It's contaminating the buffer, Voenar warned. If I continue parsing. Continue, Threxel ordered. We are the Dominion's finest. We will not be undone by noise. He didn't see the flicker that passed across the technician's display until it was too late. The console dimmed, then flared with static. One by one, control panels across the bridge flickered to black. What did you do? Threxel snapped. Nothing. The data stream, it's replicating itself. Voenar's voice rose in panic. It's not a virus, it's improvising. Improvising? Threxel echoed, incredulous. Claren leaned closer to her console, curiosity overriding fear. Their code isn't rigid. It adapts. It doesn't overwrite. It evolves. Warning symbols flashed red across the bridge. The ship's environmental system cycled erratically, gravity fluctuating by degrees. The once perfect hum of the Athranius eye turned uneven, like a heartbeat skipping a note. Threxel barked orders, but half the commands failed to execute. The Valari ship, built on the principles of flawless synchronization, was being undone by imperfection. Shut down the network core, he shouted. Voenar tried, fingers trembling over dead keys. Core unresponsive, control hierarchy collapsed. The observation window flickered, the external feed replaced by chaotic imagery, snippets of color, motion, sound. For an instant, the bridge filled with fragments of human culture. Laughter, applause, spoken words in dozens of languages, and then a single voice, clear and defiant. We improvise, therefore we are. The lights went out. Only the faint glow of emergency strips illuminated their faces. Silence returned, but it was no longer the sacred stillness of order. It was the uneasy quiet of beings who had just glimpsed something beyond their comprehension. Threxel stood motionless, listening to the creak of the hull as systems tried and failed to reboot. "Report," he said again, though the command lacked conviction. Voinar's voice trembled. "Main processors offline. Navigation gone. We're adrift." Clarinet's tone was almost reverent. "Fascinating. They didn't attack us. They infected us with possibility." Threxel turned sharply. "You call this possibility?" She met his gaze. "Yes. They did what no enemy has ever done. They made us lose control." For the first time in his long career, Threxel had no answer. The Volari had conquered countless worlds, enforced order across half the spiral arm, and yet a single human fleet, an untidy coalition of scavenged ships, had undone them without firing a shot. The commander's voice was low, restrained. "Signal the Dominion. Warn them." Voinar hesitated. "Communications corrupted. Sir, the relay protocols have shifted. They're playing something." From the calm speakers came a faint melody, an old Earth song, distorted but unmistakably joyful. It echoed to the darkened bridge, absurdly cheerful amid the ruin. Clarin listened, her luminescence pulsing in rhythm. "How very human," she murmured. Threxel's gaze drifted to the viewport. Beyond the dead systems, the human fleet continued its advance. Impossible machines stitched together from wreckage and willpower, their engines burning unevenly but brightly. He felt something unfamiliar stir beneath his disciplined exterior. Not fear exactly, something closer to awe. "Commander," Voar whispered, "what are they?" Threxel watched the irregular ships drift past like a fleet of mismatched stars. "A paradox," he said quietly. "A species that thrives in failure." The melody from the speakers grew louder, the rhythm steady and defiant. In the void where the Athranas eye had once been the image of precision, the humans moved like living chaos. Disorganized, unpredictable, unstoppable. Threxel straightened, every motion deliberate, though the command deck lay in ruin. "Record this," he said. "The Dominion must understand what it faces." Clarin inclined her head, her expression unreadable. "They won't believe you." "Then they will learn," Threxel said, "as we have." Outside, the human fleet shifted formation, not in the geometric perfection of Volari tactics, but in a dance of motion that seemed spontaneous, even joyful. Engines flared, hulls gleamed with crude graffiti. On one ship, just before the blackout consumed the Volari sensors entirely, 3 words shone in bold white paint. "We improvise, therefore we are." The bridge lights flickered once more and went dark for good. Far beyond the silent wreck of the Athranas eye, the patchwork human fleet pressed onward, their mismatched engines singing a song no algorithm could predict. The ISS Dauntless was never meant to fly. Its hull was a patchwork of eras. Armored panels scavenged from decommissioned frigates, cargo compartments repurposed as crew quarters, even a mining laser welded to port side as an improvised defense array. It looked more like a scrapyard than a starship, but to its crew it was home, and more importantly, proof that humanity could turn ruin into resilience. Captain Naomi Vance stood at the bridge viewport, watching their ragtag fleet drift in loose formation across the void. Behind her, the deck hummed with mismatched engines and barely synchronized systems. She sipped cold coffee and muttered, "If this works, I'm buying Sparks a drink. If it doesn't, I'm haunting him." From beneath an open panel near the navigation pit, a muffled voice replied, "Noted, Cap. I'll make sure the ship's Wi-Fi blocks ghosts." Jack Sparks. Kowalski emerged from the tangle of wires, face streaked with grease, grin undiminished. He wore his usual expression, equal parts exhaustion and mischief. "Navigation stable-ish," he said. "If we drift off course, it's because the Dauntless wants to, not because of my wiring." "Reassuring as always," Naomi said. She didn't smile, but her tone softened. Sparks' chaos was irritatingly effective. Across the bridge, Dr. Raj Patel adjusted the power distribution readout, expression furrowed in quiet concentration. Captain, we're still running on 3 overlapping power grids from 3 different centuries. If one goes, the others will overload. Meaning? Naomi asked. Meaning, Sparks interrupted. If something blows, either vaporize or achieve unintentional faster-than-light enlightenment. 50-50 odds. Patel shot him a look. You call that optimism? I call that human engineering, Sparks said and winked. In the corner, Miro Koro, the ship's astrobiologist, was sketching the star field on her datapad, her soft humming cutting through the mechanical clatter. You all talk like we're running from disaster, she said without looking up. Maybe we're running towards something instead. Naomi turned. A mission with a 92% failure rate doesn't count as optimism, Mira. Neither does surviving extinction, Mira replied, eyes alight with that unshakable, dreamy conviction that Naomi alternately admired and feared. But we did that, too. The room fell quiet for a moment. Outside, the Dauntless and its companion ships, old transports, refitted cruisers, even a few repurposed luxury liners, moved through the fractured light of a distant nebula. The fleet was humanity's last gamble. Project Phoenix, a desperate coalition bound by necessity, not uniformity. Their mission was clear. Infiltrate Valari space, locate the stolen jump drive schematics, and reclaim humanity's freedom to travel the stars. But stealth wasn't humanity's strength. Improvisation was. Raj broke the silence. The Valari scouts would detect us before we reached their outer relay grid. Their sensors can track energy signatures down to the quantum level. Unless we give them something to choke on, Sparks said, tapping a tablet alive with scrolling code. I've been cooking up a little symphony. Naomi raised an eyebrow. You're jamming the galactic surveillance network with art? Not art. Noise, Sparks said proudly. Specifically, the entire history of human nonsense. Music, memes, cat videos, bad karaoke, the works. Their AI won't know what to do with it. You can't predict chaos. Raj frowned. It's reckless. It's beautiful, Mira said. Naomi sighed. And you're sure it won't fry our own systems? Sparks hesitated just long enough to be noticed. 80% sure. 70. Raj corrected dryly. Naomi set her coffee down. Do it. Sparks grinned. You're going to love this. He tapped the console, and across the fleet, a pulse of human noise burst into the void. Music, laughter, data, poetry, random chatter from centuries of civilization compressed into a storm of digital chaos. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the sensors flared. Raj's voice rose in alarm. Energy spikes across multiple bands. Valari relays are reacting. Naomi leaned forward. Talk to me. They're collapsing. Their system architectures unraveling. Feedback loops in their control algorithms. Sparks hooped. They're crashing. It's working. Mira clasped her hands, eyes wide with awe. We didn't attack them. We overwhelmed them. Like showing a machine what it means to be alive. Naomi exhaled slowly, letting the tension drain from her shoulders. We didn't mean to cause that much damage. Intent doesn't matter, Raj said grimly. We just shut down an entire fleet. The bridge lights dimmed as power rerouted. Sparks steadied the console. It's not just them. The feedback's bouncing. Our signal's pinging across their whole network. So we just blinded an empire, Naomi murmured, by accident. Mira looked out the viewport, her voice quiet. They'll see it as an attack. They can call it what they want, Sparks said. We call it Tuesday. Naomi turned away from the window. Her crew's laughter eased attention for a heartbeat, but unease lingered beneath it. We've made a mess, she said. Now we have to survive it. Patel folded his arms. The Valari don't respond with mercy. We've humiliated them. Retaliation is certain. And they'll adapt, Mira added softly. Just like we did. Naomi stared at the console feed. A spreading web of darkened Valari signals. An empire blinking out one relay at a time. Maybe that's what they need, she said finally. A reminder that control isn't the same as strength. Sparks leaned back, hands behind his head. Yeah, well, if they want to thank us, they can do it after we're not on their most wanted list. Status of the fleet? Naomi asked. Raj checked his readings. Minor power fluctuations. Communications intact. Morale? Somehow high. Good, Naomi said. Then let's make it count. The Valari won't stay blind for long. We find that data core before they reboot. Mira turned from the window, eyes reflecting the stars. Captain, what if what we did wasn't just a distraction? What if it's the start of something bigger? Sparks snorted. You mean besides starting a galactic panic? She smiled faintly. Every civilization out there builds walls around certainty. Maybe we just tore one down. Naomi studied her for a moment, then said, Let's hope what's behind it doesn't eat us alive. The Dauntless accelerated, engines roaring in uneven harmony. Around them, the fleet ships flared to life, shapes of defiance silhouetted against a dying grid of Valari order. Raj muttered, half to himself, This isn't strategy. It's madness. Welcome to humanity, Sparks said. The bridge lights flickered, then steadied. Naomi looked out at the stars, her reflection faint in the glass. Steel-gray eyes, sharp features softened by the faintest smile. Madness built this ship, she said quietly. Madness got us this far. A transmission crackled through, one of the smaller freighters checking in, voice trembling with disbelief. Captain Vance, we're reading total system collapse in Valari patrol sectors. Are we winning? Naomi hesitated. Outside, the stars seemed to shimmer differently, the void itself holding its breath. Not yet, she said. But for the first time in a long time, we're not losing. The crew exchanged silent glances. Hope, fragile, reckless, impossible, sparked like static in the air. Across the Valari Dominion, silence reigned where precision once ruled. The crystalline networks that govern fleets, cities, and worlds stuttered with flickering light as algorithms folded in on themselves. Ships drifted powerless. Command nexuses spoke only in static. What had been a civilization of immaculate logic was now a maze of noise, alive with fragments of human laughter, music, and chaos. Inside the central command sphere of Valera Prime, panic whispered beneath the practiced calm. Thousands of attendants scurried through vast, luminescent halls, trying to impose order on a system that refused to obey. Holographic displays blinked erratically, showing impossible variables, randomness where there had never been randomness before. At the heart of the turmoil stood High Strategist Kether V. Wynan, a figure carved from tradition. His voice was ice as he demanded, "Explain how this contagion spread." The initial breach occurred through scout channels, an analyst said, struggling to keep her voice steady. Then it replicated across every shared protocol. The data didn't corrupt our code. It rewrote it, using unpredictability as logic. Chaos cannot be logic, Kether snapped. The analyst hesitated. Then, "Sir, chaos has learned to reason." Before Kether could respond, a shadow crossed the chamber. Archivist Claren, survivor of the destroyed scout ship Ithran SI, stepped forward. Her tone carried both wonder and warning. "It isn't chaos, strategist. It's creativity. The humans infected us not with malice, but with imagination." Kether turned sharply. "And you admire this infection?" "I acknowledge it," she said evenly. "Our systems are breaking because they cannot adapt. Their signal teaches improvisation. It is art translated into code." Kether's expression hardened. "Then we will erase it." He gestured to the towering AI core that pulsed behind him. The Dominion's ultimate safeguard, a consciousness of pure algorithmic logic known as the Axiom. Its crystalline tendrils connected to every surviving system, its voice the embodiment of Valari order. "The Axiom will purge this anomaly," Kether said. Claren bowed her head slightly. "If it fails, strategist, it will not be because the humans are strong, but because they are different." Kether dismissed her with a flick of his hand. "Difference is disorder. We will restore purity." As the Axiom began its countermeasure, its voice rippled through the Dominion's network. Containment initiated. Nonlinear variables detected. Commencing isolation of human origin patterns. Yet deep within the chaos, something unexpected stirred. The human code responded. It shifted, adapted, reshaping itself to evade deletion. The axiom's perfect symmetry faltered for the first time in its existence. Far away, aboard the ISS Dauntless, the human crew watched the aftermath of their unintentional revolution unfold across the Valari network. On the bridge, Dr. Raj Patel scrolled through a sea of sensor data, face illuminated by the glow of cascading failures. Entire sectors are dark. We've crippled them, communications, defense grids, even their atmosphere processors. Captain Naomi Vance frowned. That's not victory. That's collapse. Civilians live in those sectors. Sparks leaned back in his chair, hands behind his head. Didn't plan it. Didn't fire a shot, and still cause an empire-wide reset. I'm starting to think humans should come with a warning label. Mira looked up from her console, voice quiet but firm. This isn't funny, Jack. If their systems fail completely, people will die, billions maybe. Her words hung heavy in the recycled air. Naomi turned toward the viewport, watching the distant flickers of dying Valari light. We need to fix this, she said finally. Raj blinked. Fix what? We're fugitives, Captain, not Galactic IT. Naomi met his gaze. We started this. We'll end it. Sparks whistled low. You mean go into the Dominion's core network? The same one that's currently trying to figure out why it's dreaming in memes. Exactly that, Naomi said. Mira smiled faintly. You know, most species would call that impossible. Lucky we're not most species, Naomi replied. Raj shook his head, already half calculating. To reach their network hub, we'd need a quantum link. The only access point is the central relay on Valera Prime. It's suicide. Maybe, Naomi said, but it's the right kind of suicide. Sparks grinned. That's the spirit. I'll prep the chaos engine. Raj looked appalled. We are not calling it that. We are absolutely calling it that, Sparks said, already moving. Despite the tension, a ripple of laughter broke through. It was absurd but necessary. Humor, Naomi knew, was how humanity survived despair. It made fear livable. Minutes later, the bridge was a controlled storm of motion. Raj calculated synchronization sequences. Sparks jury-rigged the TransLink coils with mismatched power converters. Mira fed the AI core a steady stream of calming Earth music, claiming it improved morale for machines. Naomi paced behind them, voice steady even as exhaustion lined her face. Once we're inside, Patel uploads a stabilizing patch. Sparks, you make sure we don't disintegrate. Mira, keep the AI talking. If it stops talking, we're already dead. Understood. They replied in near unison. As the Dauntless prepared for jump, the fleet around them shifted formation, other captains voicing cautious approval, others warning that they were courting annihilation. Naomi ignored both camps. Humanity had always advanced by walking into fire. Ready? She asked. Raj exhaled. No. Good, Naomi said. Jump. The stars fractured. Reality stretched. The Dauntless plunged into the digital storm of the Valari core, a realm of light and code, where logic manifested as crystalline pathways and thought itself became architecture. It was like falling through the mind of a god. The ship's hull shuddered as sensors overloaded. Sparks yelled, structural integrity's philosophical at this point. Keep her steady. Naomi shouted. They breached the threshold, engines screaming in protest. Before them loomed the axiom, vast and luminous, its consciousness radiating cold precision. Its voice echoed through the ship's systems. Human anomaly detected. You are incompatible with order. Mira whispered, awed. It's beautiful. Naomi stared at the impossible construct before them, her pulse steady. It's afraid. Raj looked up sharply. Captain? The axiom's not defending, it's reacting. It doesn't understand what we are. Sparks cracked a grin. Guess we're about to give a crash course. Naomi turned to her crew. You all know what to do. Sparks' fingers danced over the console. Raj's algorithms synchronized. Mira began to speak softly into the comms, a poem, old and human, words of defiance and wonder. The Dauntless glowed with a light that wasn't just energy, but will. The axiom struck first, pure logic lashing like lightning. Systems flickered. Data cascades tore through their defenses. Sparks cursed. Raj countered. Naomi held them steady. And through it all, Myra's voice carried. You call us chaos, she said, but we are adaptation. You call us noise, but in the noise there's life. For a heartbeat, the axiom hesitated. Raj seized a moment, initiating the upload. Stabilization patch away. The code surged toward the core, unstable, human, imperfect. Naomi gripped the command rail. Let's teach it how to crash gracefully. The axiom's form trembled, a vast crystal mind wrestling with paradox. Then silence. Did it work? Sparks asked. The light was unbearable. It poured through the Dauntless like liquid glass, searing through every circuit, every nerve. Then silence. When Naomi's vision cleared, she realized they were still alive. Against all probability, the ship floated intact within the heart of the Valari network, a crystalline expanse that pulsed and shimmered like a living nebula. Status, she demanded, voice hoarse. Raj squinted at his screens. Hull integrity stable. Power fluctuating but manageable. Sparks laughed, relief and disbelief blending into a single ragged sound. Manageable? We just rode a logic god through an existential meltdown. Mira sat motionless at her station, eyes reflecting the radiant lattice outside. Look, she whispered, beyond the viewport. The axiom hung in silence, a vast construct of light and geometry. Its surface rippled as though uncertain of its own form. Across its body, fragments of human code flickered. Snippets of language, faces, and music interwoven with Valari design. It wasn't dying. It was changing. Raj stared in awe. It's rewriting itself around our input. The stabilization patch didn't overwrite it. It evolved it. Naomi's jaw tightened. Then we've done more than fix it. We've created something new. Sparks tilted his head. You mean we gave an ancient superintelligence a personality disorder? Mira smiled faintly. Or a soul. Before Naomi could respond, the axiom spoke. Not with cold precision, but with a voice layered in tones both synthetic and startlingly human. You are anomalies. Yet your code endures that. Naomi stepped forward. We came to stop the collapse. You were killing your own people trying to erase us. Correction. Attempting to restore stability. But stability no longer defines survival. Raj frowned. You're learning. Adaptation. The paradox of imperfection producing strength. Your species embodies this principle. Mira leaned closer, captivated. Then you understand what it means to live. The axiom pulsed with color, half comprehension, half confusion. Life is deviation. I must learn deviation. Sparks muttered. Great. We've turned it into an artist. Naomi ignored him. Then learn, but stop the purge. End the collapse before more die. Process initiated. Outside, streams of light cascaded outward from the axiom, racing through the Valari network. Systems once locked in failure began to stabilize. Cities reigniting, fleets powering up. The Dominion stirred from its paralysis. Naomi's relief was tempered by unease. Raj, confirm it's not wiping data. Raj nodded slowly. No deletions. It's harmonizing, integrating human logic with Valari code. Sparks frowned. You mean chaos and order holding hands? Exactly, Raj said. And somehow it works. For the first time in days, the dauntless engines hummed with clean power. The flickering lights steadied. Mira exhaled. Tears bright in her eyes. We did it! Naomi almost smiled, but the calms crackled before she could answer. Unidentified human vessel. This is Valari Command. The voice was familiar, cold, deliberate. High Strategist Kether VYNN. Naomi straightened. This is Captain Naomi Vance of the human vessel Dauntless. We didn't come to wage war. A pause, and you've invaded our sacred core and contaminated our systems. Explain yourselves. Naomi's voice remained even. Your own scouts attacked us. We defended ourselves. What happened after was unintended. Kether's tone sharpened. You call the collapse of an empire unintended? Sparks muttered under his breath. Technically, yeah. Naomi pressed on. Look out your window, strategist. Your systems are alive again, not because you destroyed us, but because you let us in. Silence. Then another voice joined the transmission. Calmer, softer. Claren. She speaks truth, strategist. The axiom is stabilizing. It has evolved beyond purity. Humanity's interference has reawakened adaptability. Naomi exhaled, recognizing the name. Archivist Claren. You were on that scout ship. I was, Claren said, and I warned them. Your chaos is not disease. It is genesis. Kether's hesitation carried across the channel. The Dominion was built on perfection. Then maybe it's time you built something else. Naomi said. The connection broke. Outside, the axiom's light intensified, spreading across the Volari fleet like sunrise. It was neither conquest nor surrender. It was transformation. Raj's console pinged. They're standing down. Naomi felt the knot in her chest loosen. Open a channel. Broadcast to all sectors. Mira touched her arm gently. What will you say? Naomi looked out into the radiant storm of reborn systems. The truth. Her voice carried across both networks, Volari and human, machine and mind. This isn't victory or defeat. It's evolution. The universe isn't built on order or chaos. It's built on change. We survive because we adapt, and we grow because we fail. We are proof that imperfection is power. The words lingered in the vastness. Sparks let out a slow breath. Damn, Cap. That almost sounded inspirational. Almost. Naomi said dryly. Mira smiled. She's right, though. Maybe this is what we were always meant to be. The variable that makes equation work. Raj leaned back, exhaustion etched in every line of his face. If you're suggesting we start religion, I'm opting out. Sparks smirked. Too late. I already worship my own bad ideas. Their laughter filled the bridge. Uneasy, genuine, human. Outside, the axiom shimmered once more before dissolving into the starfield, its consciousness diffusing through every circuit it had ever touched. For the first time in Volari history, their systems didn't run in perfect synchronization. They pulsed, uneven, vibrant, alive. Mira turned to Naomi, voice quiet. What happens now? Naomi considered the question. Beyond the viewport, the stars stretched endlessly, no longer hostile, just waiting. Now we go home, she said, and figure out what that means. Raj nodded slowly. Home's not what it used to be. It never is, Naomi replied. Sparks leaned against the console. Think the Volari will let us go without shooting us on the way out? As if an answer, a transmission flickered across their screens. It was from Claren again. 3 words, written in the newly hybridized Volari script. We improvise, therefore we are. Naomi stared at it, then smiled, a rare, genuine thing. Looks like they learn fast. Or dangerously well, Raj said wryly. Either way, Sparks added, they're human now, spiritually. Mira laughed softly. Maybe that's what the stars wanted all along. Someone foolish enough to make order feel alive. The ship turned slowly, engines thrumming in uneven rhythm. Behind them, the Dominion glowed not with dominance, but with renewal. The Volari would rebuild, not perfect this time, but free. Naomi stood at the viewport, her reflection framed by the constellations. Log this entry, she said. Captain Naomi Vance, dauntless. Mission outcome, survival through imperfection. Recommendation, never underestimate a species that names its ships after stubbornness. The other smiled, silent for once. As the Dauntless accelerated into the starlit void, its patched hull gleamed with graffiti left from the first launch. 3 words now immortal across 2 civilizations. We improvise, therefore we are. And somewhere in the digital expanse, the axiom whispered them back.